5 seconds to go. Start. I take your leave, sir, and the indulgence of the house, to refer to certain incidents which took place in this house as well as the other house in the course of the last week, and which somewhat disturbed the normal serenity of the work of Parliament. Stop. Unfortunately, I was not here then, but since my return, I have endeavored to acquaint myself fully with what happened in both the houses of Parliament. Stop. Para. Under our constitution, Parliament consists of our two houses, each functioning in the allotted sphere laid down in that constitution. We derive authority from that constitution. Sometimes we refer back to the practice and conventions prevailing in the houses of Parliament of the United Kingdom, and even after erroneously to an upper house and a lower house. I do not think that is correct. Nor is it helpful always to refer back to the procedure of the British Parliament, which has grown up in the course of several hundred years and as a result of conflicts originally, with the authority of the king and later between the commons and the lords. We have no such history behind us, though in making our constitution we have profited by the experience of others. Our guide must, therefore, be our own constitution, which has clearly specified the functions of the House of the People and the Council of States, to call either of these house an upper house or a lower house is not correct. Each house has full authority to regulate its own procedure within the limits of the constitution. Neither house, by itself, constitutes parliament. It is the two houses together that make the parliament. It is the two houses together that make the Parliament of India. Para. The successful working of our constitution, as of any democratic structure, demands the closest cooperation between the two houses. They are, in fact, parts of the same structure, and any lack of that spirit of cooperation and accommodation would lead to difficulties and come in the way of the proper functioning of our constitution. It is, therefore, particularly to be regretted that any sense of conflict should arise between the two. Para. It gives me immense pleasure to be here at the valedictory function of officer trainees of Indian Audit and Accounts Services. I have been informed that School for Training Officers of Comptroller and Auditor General was established in 1950, and so far several batches of officers have been trained here. Officers trained by National Academy of Audit and Accounts have strengthened the institution of CAG, and many of them have served the country with distinction. To be professionally prepared by such an esteemed institution is a matter of pride to all my young friends, present here. Para. The institution of CAG, in its various forms, is one of the oldest in the country. At independence, the founding fathers of our nation were fully aware of the importance of CAG. During Constituent Assembly debates, Dr. Ambedkar was of the view that CAG is probably the most important officer in the Constitution of India, and he extensively argued for independence of CAG for an effective oversight. Stop. The institution, as envisaged by Dr. Ambedkar, has grown in strength in past 7 decades and has made immense contribution to improved governance. Stop. I congratulate all of you for joining such an important institution. Stop. I trust National Academy of Audit and Accounts has prepared you for challenges ahead. Stop. As all of you take first steps in your career as public servants, let me share some thoughts with you. Stop. Para. Ladies and gentlemen, past 18 months have been very trying for the country. Stop. Economy was badly disrupted due to COVID-19 pandemic. Stop. Government has taken various fiscal measures to alleviate distress and for welfare of the poor. Stop. These are often financed through money, which may be said to have been borrowed from our children and grandchildren. Stop. We owe it to them that these scarce resources are put to best possible use and are most effectively used for welfare of the poor and needy. Stop. CAG has a very important role in this. Stop. Para. While performing oversight function, you need to be aware of opportunities of providing inputs for systematic improvements. Stop. Audit engagements provide a unique opportunity of gaining deep understanding of system and place you in a good position of suggesting improvements. Stop. Governments will take serious note of advice made by an institution like CAG. Stop. This will positively impact our public service delivery standards. Stop. Para. In 2018, I had addressed the 29th Accountant General's Conference. Stop. There, I had remarked that greater flexibility in scheme implementation has been given to states and implementing bodies. Stop. This is likely to improve program outcomes. Stop. However, this needs to be accompanied with strengthened financial reporting and accountability framework at local governance levels. Stop. Finance commissions have emphasized on similar needs. Stop. Most officer trainees graduating today will be joining field formations of CAG. Stop. I urge all of you to use skills learned during training for addressing these needs. Stop. State governments may be suitably consulted in this. Stop. I must again emphasize that meaning of Latin word audit is to hear. Stop. There cannot be a better place to hear than grassroots. Stop. Para. This is my first visit to National Academy of Audit and Accounts. Stop. Such sylvan surroundings are a great place for learning pursuits. Stop. These surroundings also teach us of a very onerous responsibility of living same pristine nature for our future generations to enjoy. Stop. Despite India's developmental needs, we have undertaken significant responsibility to address global climate change challenge and environmental protection. Stop. I have been informed that CAG has taken measures to build capacities in the area of environmental audit. Stop. For our future, this is a very welcome step. Stop. We must always remember that constraints of resource finiteness can only be partly addressed by human innovation. For the rest, sacrifice by our generation is the only recourse. Stop. CAG has a big role to play in making us aware of sacrifices we need to make for our future generations. Stop.